Transferring data from Azure to AWS is a process that involves several steps and requires a good understanding of both cloud platforms to begin. It is essential to understand the key concepts and services involved in the data transfer process. Azure provides a range of services for data storage, including Azure Blob Storage, Azure File Storage, and Azure Data Lake Storage. On the other hand, AWS offers services like Amazon S3, Amazon EBS, and Amazon EFS. The first step in transferring data from Azure to AWS is to prepare your data for transfer. This involves identifying the data you want to transfer, determining the format of the data, and ensuring that the data is accessible. You can use Azure Storage Explorer to manage and access your data in Azure. Next, you need to choose a data transfer method. There are several methods available, including using AWS Snowball, AWS Snowmobile, or online data transfer using AWS S3 Transfer Acceleration. AWS Snowball is a petabyte-scale data transport solution that uses secure appliances to transfer large amounts of data. AWS Snowmobile is an exabyte-scale data transport solution that uses a 45-foot-long ruggedized shipping container to transfer large amounts of data. Online data transfer using AWS S3 Transfer Acceleration is a fast and secure way to transfer data over the internet. To transfer data online, you need to create an AWS S3 bucket and configure the bucket to receive data from Azure. You can use the AWS Management Console or the AWS CLI to create and configure the bucket. Once the bucket is created, you can use the Azure Data Factory or Azure Databricks to transfer data from Azure to AWS S3. It is essential to consider security and access controls when transferring data between cloud platforms. You should ensure that the data is encrypted during transfer and that access to the data is restricted to authorized personnel. You can use AWS IAM roles and Azure Active Directory to manage access to the data. Best practices for transferring data from Azure to AWS include verifying data integrity, monitoring data transfer, and optimizing data transfer performance. You should also ensure that the data is formatted correctly and that the data is compatible with the target system. In conclusion, transferring data from Azure to AWS requires careful planning, execution, and monitoring. By understanding the key concepts and services involved, choosing the right data transfer method, and following best practices, you can ensure a successful data transfer and minimize downtime and data loss.